Welcome to my podcast, So Sweet Violet. My name's Jooles, and this is my podcast, mostly about knitting and sewing, but lots of odd crafty things creep in sometimes too. Did I say my name's Jooles? My name's Jooles. You may or you may not remember me because it's been a while, to be honest. Lots of things have happened in the last, I'd say 6 weeks since I last podcast, maybe longer. Didn't really know where to begin, and it was putting me off podcasting. So many things have happened, nice and life stuff, But I thought if I didn't just commit and do a podcast, I may never do one. So that was really silly, and so I've decided to come do a podcast today, show you lots of things, not everything, as I said, because it's been 6 weeks or more. So I'll just start a podcast again. So I'll just start a podcast. I'll just do it. Okay, do I need to tell you anything? I've forgotten basically what I do. Okay, it is Wednesday, the 11th of October. Can you believe it's October? I can't. It's a very, very grey and overcast day, which I like. I'm loving autumn. Oh, it's bliss. Absolutely love it. Do I need to say anything else? Oh yes, this is good, isn't it? You can find me on Instagram, where I'm most active, on Ravelry, where we have a group over there, So Sweet Violet. You can find me on Etsy, and I have a blog where you'll find all my show notes for this podcast and all other podcasts. And everywhere I am So Sweet Violet, so that makes it kind of easy. I'm going to have to look at my notes. I'm very rusty. I think that's everything I had to mention. Okay, so much has been going on since I last saw you. The main thing, and probably the most exciting thing, was that I went to the Country House retreat in the Lake District, and it was amazing. I was so scared, but I shouldn't have been, as is the case with most things in my life. It was organised by two lovely ladies, Helen from Curious Handmade and Metty, who I'd never met before, but she's so lovely, and both of them together make this amazing, like, Wonder Woman team. We were so looked after, and it was such a lovely and warm experience. I think I booked this trip on a brave day. Sometimes you get a brave day. They don't happen too often for me, but I do get them occasionally, and I'd been kind of toying with the idea of going on a knitting retreat. And I can't remember how I heard about it, but I contacted Helen to see if there were any spots available. And she told me there was, and I was like, oh, shall I, shan't I? So I booked it, as I say, on a brave day. And then that was way back. It was probably about 5 months ago, possibly, maybe longer. And as the time drew closer and closer, I got so nervous. And I was thinking, can I do this? Can I muster up the courage to get the train on my own, go through the London Underground with my suitcase, find another train? But I needn't have worried at all, because I met Julie, who is Suffolk Socks, on Instagram, and she has a shop, Suffolk Socks. Oh my goodness, she is so lovely, and she put me to ease straight away, and I met her at Euston. So I got the train from where I live to Waterloo with my suitcase. It was quite tricky because the train's busy and I didn't know where to put my case, so it wasn't in the way, but anyway, I sussed that out. Then I got to Waterloo, then I had to go on the Underground to Euston Station, and actually I was nervous, but that was absolutely fine. It was a bit annoying with my suitcase because, well, I did try and look for a lift, but I couldn't find a lift, so I had to lug my suitcase down a load of steps and then up a load of steps. This lovely man came behind me and said, would you like a hand with your suitcase? So that was so nice. So he took it all the way up to the top of the like 3 layers of steps. So I was so thankful of that because it was quite heavy. Then what did I had a coffee, got myself a coffee at Euston Station because it was a bit early, and then waited for Julie, who's Suffolk Socks, at the little information desk. Oh, and it was so lovely when I saw her coming. We'd never met. Had I met anybody? No, I hadn't met anybody on the retreat, so out of my comfort zone. But I saw Julie come over while I was waiting. Oh, and she had a lovely hand-knit stripy jumper on, and it was so nice, and it was just like we were old friends just catching up. I think that's the beauty of social media, that we interact so much with each other. I think especially the crafting community, I don't know about any others, that when you do finally meet, it's like meeting an old friend, and you just feel like you know them, and you can say, oh, how's your granddaughter, blah, 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 lovely sweater, I love this pattern, you know. And it was just lovely, and it was so natural, and she's just such a warm person, so lovely. Anyway, so, oh, and also we were meeting Dale at Euston as well, and Dale come all the way from Canada, and she was luckily getting the same train as us from Euston to Penrith. And so that was lovely, and she was such a delight. I really enjoyed getting to know her over the whole few days, but that was so nice. I think she was doing some other things as well over here, but so brave. I think she's an amazing, amazing person and so interesting. So anyway, yes, we caught the train, and then when we got to Penrith, it was a long way. I don't want to make it sound short because it was a long way. We did lots of knitting, and lots of other people on the train were kind of chatting to us about knitting and what are you doing. So that was really lovely. And I really should be talking about my knitting, shouldn't I? I'll finish this story and then we'll get on with the knitting. And then when we got to Penrith, we met Tracy, who's Nora George. I love Tracy. She's adorable. I was a bit starstruck. And Danny, who I feel exactly the same about. And who else did we meet? Lovely knitting mummy who just had me in stitches. She's just so funny and warm and lovely. And Kelly, who I don't think I even followed her on Instagram, but she is so, so sweet. And we all got our minibus to the house, and we were met by Helen and Metty, and we were allocated our rooms, and Tracy and I shared the whole top floor of this beautiful, beautiful country house. And oh, it was just lovely. I'll talk more about it later because I think I shouldn't really have rambled. This should be in my just a bit of chatter thread, shouldn't it? Thread? Just a bit of chatter section. But I couldn't wait to tell you. Anyway, I'll tell you more about that later. What am I drinking? Wow, what am I drinking out of? Look at this beautiful mug. Isn't it gorgeous? This was a gift from the lovely, lovely Antonella, who is such a dear friend of mine. And I was having a bit of a hard time. It was the anniversary of when my big brother died, and she just sent this to me just because she loved me, and it was so touching. So thank you, Antonella. Isn't it beautiful? It's by Julius Smith Ceramics, and it's beautiful. It's so tactile, and I love the tree. I just think it's like new beginnings, fresh starts. It's very autumny as well. And inside, I have some lovely apple and cinnamon tea, which is perfect for autumn. Okay, I think we should get on with some knitting. Okay, I've got lots to show you. As I say, it's been a long time. I have been really busy, but I have seemed to fit in a lot of knitting, which is good. Okay, so first up, we need to say hello to the bunny, don't we? Hello, bunny. So cute. These are my Knox socks. That's what I've called them. Oh, they're so pretty. Again, the light's not brilliant, but it's a bit warmer. This should be a bit warmer. The whole screen should be a bit warmer. But these were made from Knox yarns. The lovely dyer behind is Danielle, and we knit these together as kind of a mini knit-off. Knit-off? Knit-along, that's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, I'm very rusty, you'll have to forgive me today. They're so pretty. So it was a set of minis. I think it was 5 minis, but I've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In that case, it was 6 minis in the set. And the pattern is How I Roll Socks. Can't remember who the designer is. No, it's not going to come to me. But anyway, Danielle and I decided to do a little knit along together. And so we decided to do these shorty socks. And this is my first pair of shorties. I didn't follow the pattern for the toe. So this is the whirlwind toe, which I just love using. And if you want a link to that, because I know lots of people have been asking me lately, if you go to my Ravelry page on my projects, all the socks that I've used this toe in, I've put a link to in the notes for that particular project, so you should be able to find it pretty easily. So that's the whirlwind toe, and I just followed the pattern for the rest, I think. Yeah, I must have done. And these have been finished quite a long time. In real life they look much more vibrant than you're seeing on the screen. So Danielle and I did this as a mini knit along together, and I'm not sure she finished hers because then she had to move house, so I think her life's been completely up in the air. So Danielle, if you're watching this, let me know if you finished them. I love making them. It was nice to do a short sock for a change, actually. It's surprising how quickly they knit up. I didn't follow, because the How I Roll pattern is written for kind of like a faded, I guess, where the colours blend into each other, and the pattern tells you how to do it, so it beautifully blends. But I did it, so I just blended so I obviously start with this colour, and then when I got to about here, I started blending in this colour to this colour. So I've got this, probably this section here, which is a blended section between this and this, and I go into all of this and so and so. So yes, so they're really pretty, and I do have the other ones somewhere. My sock blockers are in demand today, so here's the other one. What else do I need to tell you about these? I used 2.25. I've been having some gauge problems lately, so I think I'm going back to 2.5 again, or varying on the pattern. I find if I do a fish lips kiss heel, it makes it quite tight around this bit here. So I tend to always go up a needle size for myself when I'm doing a fish lips kiss heel. But this heel seems fine on a 2.5, which is what I knit these on. So it's so pretty. I don't know what the mini pack was called, but it's just gorgeous. So they're my Knox socks. And if I've forgotten to tell you anything that you'd like to know, pop on over to my Ravelry projects page, because there is a page for these. Okay, next up, another pair of socks. Excuse me while I put them on the blocker. Ooh, I love this design. It's so simple. Ooh, you can see, if I get my head out of the way. Very hard to coordinate that, you know. There you go. It just has a little garter stitch band all the way down. And these are my pocket full of posy socks. And first of all, let's talk about the yarn. This yarn is beautiful. Most of you are aware, but my friend Antonella has started her own company dyeing yarn. Oh my goodness, go and try some. Her colours are beautiful, and she uses the most luxurious and lovely bases as well. Oh, this is hers. This is called, the colourway is called A Pocket Full of Posies, and it's so pretty. Again, it looks a bit cool on the screen. It's warmer in colour, than you're seeing. It's so pretty and so soft. Honestly, I know she's my friend, but wow, I love her yarn. I really do. So let me talk you through these. I used 2.25 for these. Funny enough, these aren't tight though. I can't figure it out. Anyway, so whirlwind toe, and the contrast colour, this colour here, was a mini from Sarah's Texture Crafts, and I don't think she's still dyeing. I think she stopped dyeing due to health reasons, I think. And I used that same colour for the heel as well. And this main colour is Antonella, who her yarn company is Cozy Posy Yarn Co. It's so lovely and cosy. And the pattern is called Bob. Bob socks, these are called. And let me just get my information right. A lady called Louise Tilbrook did a knit along on Instagram. I'm not sure, this pattern might be available on Ravelry now, but she did a knit along on Instagram and I was way behind, like always. I always pick up these exciting things when they're finished. But I just took photos of the posts that she'd shared about the knit along, where she'd put all the instructions. So I just followed that, and they are really, really lovely socks, and I'm definitely going to be doing this again. So simple, just enough to keep me engaged, because I get a bit bored with just plain stockinette socks. It just gives a little bit of interest. Oh, look at that yarn. And I did a 2x2 cuff and a fish lips kiss heel, which I really like doing actually. I like this heel. It's really good if you want to put a contrast heel colour in. I think it works really well. So yes, the other one's here. And I have to say, I really, really, really love these. Do I need to tell you anything else? I don't think so. So that's sock pair number 2, but it doesn't stop there. Oops. Come on, Bunny, let go. Okay, these socks weren't plain sailing. I also did a swap with Danielle from Knox Yarn. Her yarn colours are right up my street. And she is such a nice, lovely lady as well. So nice to chat to. Anyway, so I sent her a bag and some other bits and pieces. And she sent me 3 skeins of her amazing, amazing yarn and some other bits and pieces. So look at this colour. Oh, well where to start? Okay, yarn first. This is her colour Summer Harvest, and it is so beautiful. Again, I'm sorry, but it's much, much warmer in real life than it is on your screen. But it's so pretty, and it has kind of a peach base, I'd say, with a pale pea green and tiny bits of pink and like a pumpkin colour and tiny bits of blue. Oh, it's so pretty. And I teamed, oh hello, and I teamed that with this gorgeous yarn. They're both Gold Selena. And this is from the lovely Maya at the Wool Barn. And the colour is Movida. And it's her gold sparkle sock. And the Knox yarn is Summer Harvest on her Soul sock base. Beautiful. I just love the combination together. So pretty. A few weeks ago, who knows when, I saw the Wildflower Meadow pattern by Ruth, who has the Knitterarium podcast, who is lovely. If you haven't watched her podcast, go watch it. Her designs are beautiful. Excuse me, I have a sore throat at the moment. drink, sort it out. I think I had 2 frogs fighting in my throat. It's typical, isn't it? I'm having a little bit of a week off, which I'll go into a bit later. But it's just typical that you feel unwell. Yesterday I felt dreadful. But anyway, I feel a bit better today, just have a sore throat, really. By the by, that's nothing to do with knitting, is it? But by the by. So this is, I told you I had some issues with this. Not the pattern, not the yarn, just my brain. So I did my usual whirlwind toe. You must be getting so bored of me saying that. And so I probably didn't follow the pattern in that case because I put in a Fish Lips Kiss heel. Now these ones are really tight. So, and I knit them a tiny bit too long. Anyway, moving on up to the pattern section. Pretty, isn't it? But it is wrong, completely wrong. Between these 2 bits here, I should have knit, I think it was 3 rows, like there is between this row. And I thought I knew, so just carried on knitting and did it wrong. Although it does look very pretty, but Ruth was doing a knit-along, a competition. I think it must have been a thread in Ravelry, which I was going to enter them into, and she said, oh, just carry on, but she didn't really know what a mash-up I'd made of her pattern, so I felt really bad about it, so I didn't enter. And I'm so sorry, Ruth, I hope I haven't mashed your pattern up too much. I'll make a nice pair one day, a proper pair, following the pattern. But I do love these, even though they're completely too tight for me and too long for me. So I've donated them to Bryony, who is thrilled with them. Although I am quite sad because I think this Summer Harvest is one of my favourite yarns ever. The colours are just lovely. And I do have some left. So I think what I might do is another sock, because I've got 2 balls like this left, where the main colour is this and the heel and toe is this. So, and maybe a pattern in this as well, so that I get to be able to wear it because I love it so much. So there we go. Oh, I've forgotten to show you something else. What am I wearing? This is my So Faded sweater. Do you know, I've been thinking about what to call it. I was brought up calling these jumpers. I think the American term seems to be sweater, but I've also heard the term pullover. Well, so sweater, I think sounds like it makes you sweat. Jumper, well, it doesn't make me jump. But pullover, for me, in my mind, sounds much more appropriate. So I think I'm going to start calling them pullovers because you pull them over your head to get them on. So it does make more sense, doesn't it, really? Anyway, so this is my So Faded. I think I'll try and stand up so you can see a bit more. If I move the chair out of the way, tidy myself up a bit. I really like it. And I knit it out of Fine Fish yarns. Terry was so sweet and she dyed these 2 top colours for me. This one's called Jooles, this one's called Violet, this is Heartstrings, this one down here is Cream Bun. And I love it. I love the yarn, it's so soft. It was knit on her Xeon base. I think I spoke about this on my last podcast, if I remember correctly, if I can remember that far back. And so if you want any details of sizes, what I knit size-wise and needles, I would go back and watch episode 19. By the way, this is episode 20. What else do I need to say about it? I tell you what, I'll put a really lovely little either a video or a photo in here. And when we went to the Curious Handmade Country House retreat, there was quite a few of us, maybe 8 or 9, possibly more, who had all knitted a sew faded. It wasn't planned, well, not in my case anyway, I was knitting it anyway. But while we were there, we did a little kind of photo opportunity outside the front door, which is beautiful. And so all us ladies who'd knitted the sew faded all stood in kind of a little semicircle and had our photos taken. And we also arranged ourselves in fade order. So it's a fade fades. And so it's amazing with one pattern how different they can all look and how many different ways you can adapt it. So I'll pop it here and yeah, you'll see it's all in our sew faded. Let me show you my biggest in the making first. It looks a bit strange at the moment, even if I can get it out of the bag, that is. Oh, yarn down. This is my door sweater. Oh, it doesn't look very good. It looks very skinny. I think it will fit. So let me flick that bit over. Oh no, let's. I'd never get a job on Blue Peter. Okay, not okay. Okay, I'm going to stand up and show you this. So this is my door sweater. So this is the back and has a lovely moss stitch edging. And I love this pattern. It looks very flattering. I hope it's going to be. Here's a picture. And does it show the sides very well? Oh, here we go, this is the best picture. And that is, so the sides have a really, really long split. So it looks lovely with something layered underneath. Well, you wouldn't want to wear nothing underneath, let's face it. So yes, so I've done the back and has this lovely moss stitch edging. It's really curling in, so it makes it look tiny, but it is my size, I think. It's not very easy to show. And a couple of days ago, you pick up stitches at the shoulder, and then you knit down the front, and you shape. Excuse my double chin, and you shape the neck. There we go. And I'm just up to the point now where I'm going to start armhole shaping. So I'm really excited to get that done. This is another 4-ply pullover. I think I've only, oh no, I did knit a worsted, my first Celine cardigan, but recently I've knitted my breathing space, my sew faded and the door, all on 4-ply fingering. So I think I'm going to try and do a DK one next. And I know there's, I think it's Andrea Mowry is going to be releasing like a faded cardigan soon. And I think that's DK, so quite excited to see what that looks like. But anyway, back to the door. The yarn I'm knitting it in is this. Antona's changed her label since these, although I love these. There we go, isn't that cute? With a little pullover on it. If you hear any weird squeaking noises, it's my knee on the cupboard. And this is from Cozy Posy Yarn Co., which is Antonella. So this is her strawberry wine colourway, which I'm knitting it from. And I have 4 skeins, and I think I'm going to have plenty. I have, excuse me, I have this much left of 2. because I've been alternating colours just in case, because her hand died. And I think I'm going to get at least halfway down the front with these, and then I've just got the rest of the front and the sleeves to go. So my only downside with this is that I asked you to bind off the hemming on the back with tubular bind off, and I'd never done that before, and I watched a video, I think it was very pink knits maybe, a tutorial, but mine doesn't look very neat and I don't know what to do. Let me see if I can show you. This is the unneat end, and it just looks a bit rough really. Look, so there's a bit of a gap there. Then this bit, from here it gets really much better, but I didn't enjoy doing it at all. This is quite good here, but do I unpick it? Oh crikey, look, I've dropped a stitch as well there. Oh, where's the drop stitch? Here. How did I do that? I better pick that up quick. Use my sweet little squirrel stitch marker. Don't know what to do at all now. I'll have to think of that. Maybe I should unpick it. What do you think? What should I do? Overall, I'm very happy with it. It's just the bind off. And I'm very, very happy with the yarn. It's super soft. This is her 19.5 micron 100% super soft merino, because she knows I'm a bit of a princess with itchy things. Thanks, Antonella. So that's my door. Ooh. Put it all back in. There we go. So that's my door sweater. No, that's my door pullover. Have a quick drink. I have no idea how long this episode is. I have nothing on the screen that shows me. Next up, I always do this. I didn't show you my project bag. Looks a bit rumpled now. But this is my lovely big tote from Antonella. Sorry, Antonella, I'm really making a mess of showing your things. I love where the handles are, it's so cute. She sells these in her shop sometimes too. Okay, so next up I have Beauty and the Beast socks. Aren't they lovely? I love this yarn. Gosh, I love self-striping yarn. This yarn, now hang on, I want to get it right. Let's be professional. This yarn is by Scrumptious Pearl, and it is in the, so professional, Be Our Guest colourway. This was so sweetly gifted to me from the lovely Sandra, who is Sandy by the Lakeside. Love Sandra. She is just a joy. Her podcasts are just so lovely, and she's just a very, very sweet, kind person. And it also came, which is what I love when a self-striping comes with a contrast, so that you can do your, excuse me, my throat's going again. So that you can do your toes and heels. And it's the exact colour, the same colour as the pink. Excuse me, I hope I don't run out of voice. I feel I only have a certain amount of voice a day, and when I have a sore throat, it's much less. I'm just going to put this on the blocker so you can see. But this is a Beauty and the Beast colourway. I watched that movie again the other day. It's brilliant. Such a feel-good movie. So there we go, that's on the blocker. So I did my, do I need to say it? Whirlwind toe. This is just a straight vanilla sock, but because it's stripy, it knits up super quickly. And I'm absolutely chuffed that this pink stripe here, oops, oh, I can't do it. This pink stripe here was in the exact place for the heel placement. So the heel went in there, so it looks so good. So there's a lovely mustard and yellow, blue, and a gorgeous pink. It's really, really lovely yarn. It's got a high twist, which is really nice, and it gives a lovely stitch definition. So I'd love to order more self-striping from the States. Self-striping's so lovely. We do get quite a lot in the UK, and it's getting more. I mean, there's a lovely Karen from Twisted Lemon. She does beautiful self-striping, and I have a little something in the works, me and her. It's exciting. I love Scrumptious Pearl and Stray Cat socks. Oh, it's so lovely. Just love self-striping. But anyway, so these are my Beauty and the Beast socks. So thank you so much, Sandra. I know it's a while ago, but I'm really, really loving this, and I can see why you like Scrumptious Pearl so much. So I'm knitting these ones on 2.5mm, I think, because of my issues with these ones being too small. I really don't know why, but same stitch count, everything. Weird. So there's my second in the making. I hope this is not too rambly. Okay, what else is in the making? Oh yes, I started these yesterday. I missed something out completely. Okay. I'm sorry. This is what my Beauty and the Beast socks are in. Excuse the blue yarn tail that's stuck in it. Isn't that so cute? It's a lovely, sweet little drawstring bag from Luli. I'll put all the notes of all the people I talk about on my blog notes for this podcast. So if I'm talking too quickly or you don't catch what I'm saying, just hop on over to there. There'll be a link down below from this video. And look at that fabric. It's got mermaids and whales and turtles. It's beautiful. And I love this grey contrast she's used. So Luli and I did a little swap because I really, really wanted one of her needle cases. But in fact, I need more than one now. So we did a swap, and I made Luli some lovely things and she made me some lovely things. So this is what I received from her. So thanks, Luli. Your work is amazing, by the way. And look, so I've got all of these are my higher, sharp interchangeables. Look at the placement of that fabric, isn't that amazing? And it has a little pocket at the back to put all your cables in, and it has the pockets at the front, put your needles in, and it has this lovely eyelet, metal eyelet, and a leather strap. So the leather strap just threads through the eyelet and just keeps it all together, and it's so lovely, and it's so, look how thin it is. It's amazing, but it feels very, very substantial. I absolutely love it. So if you're thinking of trying Luli out, I'd highly recommend her. And the bag's very cute. And it also has pockets inside. And I do like a pocket inside a project bag. So yes, that's that. Just going to have another quick drink. Did you hear that murmuring sound just a minute ago? It's Mabel. She's fast asleep next to me. Need a haircut soon again, I think. Anyway, so last night I started the Clark socks by Jackie Salem, and I have the perfect yarn that my lovely friend Amy, who is the little tailoress, gave me. Look at that. one day I'll show something so professionally and then we won't believe it, will we? This is the yarn. Oh my goodness, look at that. Amy is a real princess, like a sparkly princess, and she is amazing. The colours she dyes are just beautiful. So this colour is called, I believe, Gatsby. Let me double check. Don't think it says, but that's her label. And I believe the colourway is Gatsby. And it came with this gorgeous little mini, which I believe is cinnamon. But look at them together. Oh, how pretty is that combination? So I'm going to do the heels and toes in cinnamon and the sock in Gatsby. I don't know if you've seen the Clark sock pattern, I'm sure you have. It seems to be everywhere at the moment, but it's so lovely. It has a large cable at the front, and then down the back it has a little cable. It looks so pretty. It's knit cuff down, and I debated whether to do my usual toe up and just kind of convert the pattern, but with recent sock disasters I decided I'm going to stick to the pattern. So should be no mistakes there. And Jacqueline has a podcast called Brooklyn Knit Folks, and I love her little, she does lots of like mini recordings of out and about in New York. It's so amazing to see. Anyway, so I've started, I should show you that way up really. So I've started, I've only done the cuff and 2 rows of the pattern so far. Look at that beautiful yarn. Oops, not very still, is it? A lovely halo. So I've done all of the cuff, and I've done the first 2, there's a setup row, and then you go into the pattern. So I'm just the first row into the pattern. So I'm really excited, but I love the way the pattern's written. And it's written so clearly, so I don't think I'm going to have any issues, but it tells you to place the markers. So this is the front. Let me get rid of the 2 back markers. So the cable in the front is between these 2 markers, and then at the back it's a smaller cable, and the cables work between these 2 markers. Let's see that properly. So that makes it really easy, and I've just been reading through the pattern, and Jacqueline says in the written instructions, knit so many slip marker, blah blah blah, slip marker, so you know if you don't have the marker there to slip at that point, you've done something wrong, so you just tink back that 1 row. So I find that really helpful because I have the concentration span of a sparrow. Oh, I better show you these little stitch markers too. How do we do that? These little stitch markers are cute too. These are, actually I think, not many left in my shop. I had a little update about 10 days ago, but they're really pretty. So these are my autumn squirrel stitch markers, and my stitch markers generally come as a set of 4 stitch markers and a progress keeper. And the little squirrel I used earlier to save the stitch on my door, that is the squirrel stitch progress keeper, which is also very handy. It's a stitch finder keeper thing. So anyway, they're my Clark socks, and I'm really excited. So this afternoon, I'm having a little week off, so kind of a week off anyway. I'm going to get into the pattern of these. I'm really, really excited. So, ooh, fun times. And I'm knitting these on 2.5 as well. Oh, I love this yarn. It's so soft, and I love gold sparkle at the moment. It seems to be getting me excited. So that's my Clark socks. What else have I got? Oh yeah. I've been working quite a bit on both of my patchwork blankets, but I'm going to save the bigger one for next podcast because I seem to be showing you an awful lot today. But this is my teeny tiny patchwork blanket. Excuse all the ends. Whoops. Oh, it's so pretty. These little squares are minute. Let me measure one. It takes 4 of these. Takes 4 of these squares here, so that 4 there, to make a big square in my normal patchwork blanket. So the squares are 1.25 inches. Can't really see that, but they're about 1.25 inches, so they're quite tiny, and they use just 1 gram, about 1 gram of yarn. I'm not going to tell you any of the colours in here. I've been marking them off on my Happy Patchwork blanket. Each time I do a square, I just use a stitch marker just to clip a little piece of paper of where I got the yarn and what it is. So we should stop any of that. Ooh, which one's this? Oh, I can't remember that. So we should stop all of that next podcast. But this one I didn't because they're so tiny, but oh, so cute. And on the back, I'm just knotting all the ends because what I'm going to do, this is going to be a baby blanket, and it's been allocated now. Not to my daughter though. So I'm going to put a backing, I'm not quite sure, but something really soft, maybe some kind of brushed cotton or something, and then I'm going to do, if I can, an I-cord edging. So I remember Danny from Little Bobbins, she did that on her mum's blanket and it looked really neat and nicely finished and kind of complemented the blanket because the blanket is quite busy, let's face it. See, that's my centre 4 squares. You see this pin here? So these 4 squares, gosh, this is so hard. Those 4 squares are the middle. So I'm keeping going, keeping it square until I get the right width. And then I'm going to add more onto the bottom and more onto the top. But it is so pretty. I'll see if I can give you a nice little close-up. Oh, it's beautiful. I'm really, really chuffed with this. It's quite big now. So this is going to have a new home soon, so I really need to crack on and get some more work done on that. It's lovely. Oh, these bring me so much happy. So I think that's everything I'm going to talk about today that's in the making. I have a few things in the planning. But that's it for in the making. Magical arrivals. This is exciting. Okay, where to start? Okay. Right, I did another swap. I've been doing quite a few lately, which has been fun. And she lives in Texas in the USA, and yeah, she contacted me and we decided to do a swap. And she sent me the sweetest swap package ever. Okay, she sent me some yarn and she sent me this. Ooh, I don't know how well this is going to show up actually. Isn't that cute? Look at the little flowers and the unicorn, and on the back it says one of a kind. So I've just popped some water in there to keep you going. How cute is that? Honestly, I opened her parcel and I nearly wept. It was just so beautiful. And this lovely lady's called Leslie, so thank you, Leslie, and if you're watching, I appreciated everything so much. Right, shall I show you the yarn she sent me? First up, I love doing swaps like in different countries because you get to try out some different yarns that you wouldn't normally be able to. Well, you can try them out here in the UK, but you have all the import duties and everything, so it takes the excitement off a bit. But this is Must Stash Yarns. Here we go. Oh, great reads. And this is, I'm not quite sure, I'm going to show you this. It says not a tame, oopsie, that's what the label says, so I'm not quite sure what the yarn's called. Is it Care Paravel or Not a Tame Lion? But anyway, it's absolutely beautiful. Oh, look at those beautiful colours. Yellow and pink, green on a, I'd say on a very pale cream base. And Leslie told me it's 2 strands together, so you can knit 2 at a time socks with this. I guess you wind it as 2 strands. Not quite sure how that works, but I'm excited to try it. Oh, it's so lovely. Never ever used moustache yarns before, so that's really exciting and very soft. It's from the Great Reeds collection, I think. She also, I mean, how generous. She also sent me some Hue Loco, which again, I've never tried Hue Loco, and her colours are beautiful. So this is Hue Loco. That blue you're seeing is actually purple in real life. How weird is that? Because it's showing my purple jumper, but it's showing this purple as blue, and it's definitely purple, so take my word for it. But it's very, it's like watercolour, it's very pastel. It's got this lovely purple, and this lovely kind of apricot which fades. Oh, it's lovely. And this is a very high twist as well, so I'm excited to see how that knits up, and it's super soft. Oh, I love yarn. Yarn makes me so happy. Can you see? Can you see? I rearranged. Let's see if I can point properly, shall we? That's the way to do it. See, I rearranged all my stash. Oh, I love it. My family are like, why do you need so much? Why do you keep buying yarn? Well, because it looks so pretty. I mean, look at it. Nice. And anyway, back to the swap. She also sent me 2 little boxes of calorie-free chocolates. But they weren't chocolates at all. They were teeny tiny little skeins of yarn. Oh my goodness. I'll put a picture in here so you can see them. But they're so perfect, and I love the way they're wound because they go straight in my blanket. So thank you, Leslie. I loved everything, and I hope you loved your swap package too. Well, I know you did because we've chatted, but you know. The other thing, I received a beautiful skein of yarn from a lovely yarn dyer who supported my podcast from the very beginning, and she's so sweet. And it's Di from Knitting Bunting. She sent me a skein of her toasted marshmallow, which is absolutely beautiful. It's got, it's like a coffee colour, I'd say. This is kind of coffee and pink and cream. It's so beautiful. Can't wait to turn this into socks. I have so many knitting plans at the moment. My head is buzzing with ideas to make things for my shop and to knit things for myself. So thank you, Di. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's also got a sparkle. Can you see? Oh, so beautiful. As I say, Di's been a lovely supporter of my podcast, and just some people are lovely, aren't they? In fact, I think most people, 99% of people, maybe even higher, are lovely. Just get the weird odd ones, but hey. Okay, right, back to Antonella. This is turning out to be a bit of an Antonella podcast, but I do love her, and I do have a giveaway announcement too to announce in a minute. Okay, so I made a bag for Antonella just as a little gift, a little thank you for being just a very, very sweet friend. We've got very close lately, and we both want to make the evergreen socks. I love Amy Florence. Amy Florence's podcast is one of my all-time favourites. She's just so lovely. She makes me giggle, and she's been knitting, I think she's finished now, the evergreen socks. No, I don't think she has finished. She's knitting the evergreen socks, and I've been wanting to make a pair of Christmas socks, and I thought they're so pretty, but I didn't have any suitable yarn. All my yarn is more variegated or self-striping, and I wanted something a bit plainer. And so I mentioned this to Antonella. She read my mind and my soul. Look at this. Again, it's not showing right, it's much warmer. It's like avocado, and it's got gold sparkles. Oh my goodness. Antonella, you are some kind of dyeing expert. Look at her new labels. How cute is that Cozy Posy Yarn Co. Dream in Wool? And she dyed this especially, but I think, I was talking to her and I think she's called it Jooles Green. Oh, how lovely. She's called it Jooles Green. That's so lovely. Oh my goodness. So they're her new labels too, how cute. So if anybody would like some of this, I think she can re-dye it, but I can't promise that. But it's so pretty. I wish I could show you. If I put it next to another one? No. It's much more avocado. You know the bit when you cut into an avocado? It's the bit right under the skin, like next to the skin, that really lovely green colour. And it's so warm. It's not looking warm on there at all. It's got gold sparkle. So this is going to become some evergreen socks. I also placed an order with Antonella because she had free shipping even to the UK. I thought that was so lovely of her. So I also ordered this beauty. And this is a sock yarn with mohair in it. So it's 20% kid mohair, 55% merino and 25% nylon. So I thought this would make a really lovely kind of pair of fluffy house socks. You can see the halo on it. Pretty. And this is the same colour that I knit these socks. Different base. And I also ordered this one, which is her, I think it's her Stardust colourway. So pretty. It's like the night sky with an addition of purple. So beautiful. So that's her Stardust colourway, and that's her Cozy Posy Classic sock, which is 75% merino wool and nylon. Oh, they're going to look beautiful socks. Lovely. And then Antonella, because Antonella is just a sweetheart, she sent me this skein of I Smell Snow. Look how pretty that is. Also this has purple in, on purpley blue, but it's showing much more blue on the screen. It has like a purple tinge in real life. But super, super pretty. So thank you, Antonella. Ooh, Mabel's just going out of the room. So I have been a very, very lucky girl and a little bit naughty lately. I've had more things, but I can't keep showing you. And I got this, and I got this, and I got this. So I decided to just show some of the things, and the other things you'll see randomly posted through my podcast when I do them. Giveaway winner. Last podcast I started a giveaway, does that make sense? I started a giveaway for this beautiful skein of yarn. It's the Cozy Posy Yarn Co podcast, isn't it? And this is Strawberry Wine on her cozy on Antonella's cozy sock, which is 80% marine, 80% machine washable, certified organic merino and nylon. And it's so beautiful. It's much more subtle. The colourway is much more subtle on this base. This is the same colour as I'm knitting my door sweater in. There we go, so beautiful. It has peach and apricot and a tiny bit of violet. Oh, so lovely. So, I asked what made you happy today, and I think it was something like 203 or 205 entries for this, and I'm not surprised because it's beautiful. And Antonella was so generous in allowing me to give one of these away. So for the lucky winner, it was number, I used random number generator thing, and the winning number was 105, and that is Eva from Glasgow. So congratulations, Eva. Eva's Ravelry name is E. Freckman, which I will put down here on the screen. So Eva, if you could contact me, I'll give you a few days, and if not, I'll try and get in touch with you. So congratulations. So this lovely skein of yarn is going to Glasgow in Scotland. So congratulations, Eva, and thank you so much, Antonella. It's beautiful. Well, I also have a giveaway to announce, another one. I think I've raved quite a lot about Abby Morris and her sock design, which I love. I think it's one of my favourite ever sock patterns, and it's called Time for Tea. She's just recently brought out a new pattern called, hang on one second, Up, Down and All Around. And it's got like, I'll put a picture in here, but it's got like a lovely trellis work pattern on it. And in the description it said you can knit one toe up and one cuff down and they will turn out exactly the same. You don't have to knit them one toe up and one cuff down, but however you knit them, they'll turn out exactly the same. So she so sweetly gave me a copy of this pattern, which I'm going to be making in one of these new yarns. Maybe this would look pretty. Toasted marshmallow. And she also gave me a copy to share with you. So to enter this giveaway for Abby's pattern, I'll open a link on Ravelry, and the question is going to be, what is your favourite autumn tradition? Because I'd like some new autumn traditions. It's such a cosy month, and I think it's only the last couple of years that I've really loved autumn and appreciated it. So I'd like to know your favourite autumn tradition. Just one comment per person as well, and I will close the thread just before I post my next podcast, which should be soon, but we know my track record. So thanks, Abby, and I have to say Abby's patterns are so fabulously written as well, so it's a really nice one to enter. Just a bit of chatter. Well, I think I've shown you all of my works in progress, all of my finished things, and well, some of my from the posty goodies. So just a bit of chatter then. The country house retreat, let's go back to that. It was lovely. I met so many, actually every single lady there was so warm and friendly. I think there was only a couple of us whose first time it was me, Tracy, and I think there might have been another lady as well. But it was so, I don't know, it was just so lovely. Do you know what I found really exciting? Is you get up in the morning and you go downstairs for breakfast, and breakfast is all laid out for you. You can choose what you want, like a little buffet breakfast, which is perfect. And you can just sit down and knit, like at breakfast. I never do that. And I was talking to Tracy about it, and she said, you should sit down and knit in the morning if you want to. Should I? So, yeah, so that was really a revelation that you could knit so early in the day, because I normally only knit in the evenings, really. And sometimes if I've done all my work, I'll have a quick knit before I cook dinner or whatever. But yeah, so that was so exciting. Anyway, we had a couple of workshops. I only did one of them, actually. I did the mood board, which is all about creativity, and we had all these lovely brochures and magazines, and it was just like school, where you just cut or tear pages out and stick them to a big piece of paper and make a mood board. And it was really revealing, actually, and it turned out my style is exactly like my bags I make for my shop. And like my logo, it's so funny. So I must be following my inner soul, I think, when it comes to making things. So that's really good to know. It's quite comforting that I'm being true to myself. So I feel very croaky. I'm sorry if I'm going a bit hoarse here. Maybe my unicorn water will help. So we had lunch provided, dinner provided, breakfast provided, afternoon tea and cake provided, and the ladies made it. It was just so nice to just spend time and chat with people about yarn and knitting and life, and it was just so fun. I felt a bit free and like a child again with no rules. It was lovely, and it did me the world of good, and it made me realise that I'm braver than I thought I was. See, that's really positive, and it was just, I can't say enough good things about it, and it was so nice chatting to people like Danny and Amanda and Deb, who's Tink Hickman, and Paula, Snail Garden. I'm going to forget people, but everybody, every single person there. Or Nicola from Bumble Stitches. Oh, it was just lovely. And we had a little marketplace where I sold some of my bags and bought more yarn from Tracy, and Metty had her little stand of natural dyed yarns, which was sort of like magic, really. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I hope I can go again. So thank you, Helen and Metty. That was just amazing. You do such a lovely job. So that was the country house retreat. It took me a couple of days to get over it, actually, and I did hurt my back again. I think it's lugging the case around. So if I do go again, I'm definitely going to pack lighter. But Tracy was amazing, and she lugged my case down from the very top of the house down to the hall on the last day. Oh, it's very windy outside. So thanks, Tracy. It was wonderful. What else has been going on? Oh gosh, advent calendars. Hey Papa, Mabel's here. So she'll say hello. Let's see. Hang on. Hey Papa. Oh, big girl, aren't you? You want to say hello? Look, who's this? This is my Papa. Oh, you're such a good girl, aren't you? Yes, you are such a good girl. No, don't lick my face. No. Oh, I love this girlie. Okay, off you go then. Good girl. That was quite good, wasn't it? No wriggling, no jumping off. Yes, you're a good girl. Yes, you're a good girl. Yes, advent calendars. Wow, that was a lot of work. Much more work than I had first thought. You see that little nose down there? That's Mabes. Oh. So I had to make 50. But that's kind of 100 because I had to make 50 of the bags and 50 notions pouches. So that was a lot. And then I had to make bits to go inside them and package them, and it was a lot of work, but I tell you what, I really enjoyed it. I had a couple of times where I felt overwhelmed and I thought, what am I doing? This is crazy, a crazy amount of work. But there was only a couple of times, and it was so fun. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I've sent out something lovely into the world that's going to make people happy. But I just hope that everybody who bought one, and thank you so much if you did, and I'm sorry if you wanted one and couldn't get one, but there will be something more exciting in the shop soon, or maybe in a month. I just hope the people who bought one love it as much as I loved it. So that was a really, really massive big thing, and I'm so glad I did it. So I'll pop a little video in at the end of, you can only see Bryony, we're packaging up. That was the other evening. We put Michael Bublé on his Christmas songs, and we had hot chocolate with amaretto in it, which is gorgeous. And we packed and packed and packed and packed, and we had a little like a production line. We put all the envelopes and presents all in order from 1 to 24, and just went round the kitchen putting one of each in the bag, and that was so fun. We had a really nice evening. Excuse me. So advents are done and all posted, and some of them have started arriving, so so exciting. So that's Advents, and I do have some exciting things coming to my shop before Christmas. I don't think there's going to be an update at the end of October. I think it's going to be around mid-November, but I'll keep you updated on that on Instagram. So if you want to know more and be kept up to date, the best thing I would say is to turn on post notifications on Instagram for me. And then that way, when I post something on Instagram, a little notification will come up on your phone to say that I've posted. So I'd say that's the best thing to do, because at the moment I don't know when, because I've got some things that I can't, I'm not totally in control of myself. So, is that everything? I think it might be. Oh, I've recorded a podcast. Thank goodness. I feel a relief. I was stressing about it. I wanted to do it, but I didn't know where to start. So I'm glad I have. Is that everything? Oh, before I go, I just want to say thank you to everybody who sent me messages and emails and things like that to say, or just to ask if everything's okay, because obviously I've been missing in action, so to speak. So thank you for thinking of me, and I'm sorry if your ironing piles got huge. A few ladies have said to me that their ironing pile's getting really out of control because they do the ironing when they watch me. So ladies, I hope this gives you plenty of ironing time. So thank you for being so kind, and also I had a shop update about 10 days ago, so thank you so much for supporting that as well. If you bought a bag, thank you. Okay, I think that's it, so see you next time. Bye.